We all need hope, we all need inspiration, we all need purpose, and most of us need encouragement. Hi, my name is Paul, and I want to show you some logical reasons why property investment could be for you or your friends or your family. Many of you have been our finance or accounting clients for years. For those of you who have not been, WhiteStar Group has been around for quite a long time, and we have quite a lot of experience in what we're talking about here today. There is often confusion about property investment. Let's clear some of it up. For those of you who are interested, please replay this. We tried to keep it simple, but it is a lot of information to take in at one time. We are more about providing a service than selling. We're thinking long-term here. The nature of what we do is long-term. Finances every few years from the first time. Residential property investment is usually one or two properties over time. Some of you might be able to do something today, some down the track, some maybe never. Residential property management, that's ongoing. Accounting is ongoing. So as you can see, we're looking for our clients to utilize our services or various services various times, which makes our client, you, a very important person. The satisfaction is pretty important, or you won't use our services, which is fair enough, absolutely fair. Okay, property investment feasibility study. Why can't we do more? This is a lot of people think, why can't we do more? Well, maybe we can. Maybe we can. As we all know, and as we've all heard, identifying the problem is half the solution. So let's get into what we think is the main problem, which will take a couple of minutes, but go with me, and hopefully you'll see some sense in what I'm saying. A lot of people are saying they can't keep up with the cost of living. You hear it all the time. What we're suggesting is maybe that's not the main problem for many people. I know that sounds a bit strange, but that's what we're suggesting. This is simply a graph of wages and cost of living. As you can see, wages in the consumer price index are tight. They absolutely are tight, but that's only part of the story here. We are a rich society. We're a developed country, but there's hardly any money going in the bank. Our savings here in Australia, personal savings, this is the Australian Bureau of Statistics figure, averaged 9.55% for over 60 years, and now it's 2.5. So what's going on here? What's really going on? Why is savings a bigger problem now? Why is that the case? We believe, and we will point out, discretionary spending can get wildly out of control. It really can. It's encouraged by easy credit, easy ways to purchase, your pay wave, your afterpay, your credit cards, and on and on and on. You can literally flick your wrist and create another debt. That's how easy technology has made it. Some marketers observe that we're exposed to thousands of ad brand messages a day. I've actually heard 5,000. It is seriously over the top. How can we, it's very hard to combat this. Anyway, this combination of easy spend, easy credit, and the marketing is damaging a lot of families. Now, if we can exercise control over a situation, really that's pretty much all we can ask for. So in this case, let's turn things on its head. Let's fight back using technology against the marketing and track spending, know what we're doing. So you can get a clear view of what you're doing with WhiteStar money. This combines downloads with most finance organizations and can be moved when you move your lenders. That's a pretty handy little thing there in that sense. And then we can do plans for you. We can do money management, which shows you where you're going and what you're doing. This is to do with spending. And it gives you a clearer view to make decisions, large or small. And then it's up to you, really. This is to point out what compounding can do, a dollar and a dollar and a dollar. So if we took a cent and doubled it the first day, doubled it the second day, and so on over 35 days, how much would you end up with? Now, if you weren't looking at this, I've never seen anyone come remotely close. So yeah, the figure's over $171 million. It's just amazing. Now, leading on from that point, let's have a look at some money being spent, discretionary spending type thing. Now, in this case, in this particular example, I think from memory, someone told me it was a single mother and this was a child. So we all love children. That's not what we're talking about. But this child is spending $148, I think it is, a month on your Spotify and music and different things. Yes, we all like music and it's great and so on. The point is just to be aware of this. Now, if we took this amount and applied it to a mortgage, for example, it would save in interest over $37,000. And it would save the mum 4 years of mortgage repayments. Pretty serious stuff. It really is. Here's another example, and this is the key to what we're talking about and why we don't think it's necessarily cost of living. Now, in this case, this individual was eating out a lot, which is fine. We all do it. We all want to do it. No problem. As well as not just eating out, we get Uber Eats, we get stuff delivered at home, and it really, most people recognize somehow, somewhere, that they're spending an awful lot of money. So in this case, it's $263 a month. 263. Yes, we all love to eat out, but let's be really aware. Let's be aware, for example, that if we took this money and applied it to our mortgage, it would save an interest over $57,000, and it would save over 5 years on our mortgage. Now, this raises another point: cost and opportunity cost. So let's say $248 or savings of $57,000 in interest. That's a direct one. Now, what if we applied that money to something else that was growing, or a growth spend, an investment of some form? Yes, we're adding towards property investment here, but it could be anything. So is the cost really 200 and whatever it is a month, or is it double that or triple that in opportunity cost down the road? So is the savings in interest $57,000, or could it be in opportunity cost $157,000? I mean, you don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. All of these things are for illustration purposes only, and not to be taken as something necessarily factual in your case whatsoever. Okay, this is where things start to get even more interesting. Notice the 3% savings there. Doesn't seem like much. It's just humble, 3% sitting there. Now let's see what's behind that and what can happen with that 3%. In this case, that 3% applied to someone's home mortgage would save over time $129,000 in interest, and it would save over 8 years. This is that humble 3%. It's worth hanging on to this and remembering this one. It really is. Okay, now that we've tidied up personal finances, household stuff, got the house in order, let's look at property investment. Of course, it can all be done at the same time. We have many people who are doing both. But the smarter use of money really can make a difference, a good difference in life. The investment feasibility study itself. Okay, we've tidied up the personal finances, got our house in order somewhat, more so than it is now. And we do a feasibility study, which, depending on the information that we put in, that's information you would give us and assumptions that you would agree with. It can indicate when someone might consider investing in property. It might be now, it might be 6 months, a year, some cases, maybe never. But we do live in a land of opportunity, and a lot of things can be done if we're a bit careful with money. So when we're talking about considering investing in property, of course, it's subject to finance there. The second point would be weekly out-of-pocket expenses. What does it cost out of the hip pocket? That's pretty interesting. We'll show you in a minute. And when the investment property might pay for itself. which means really it's looking after itself, job done to a certain extent. This is taking, again, a 3% in here, home mortgage, and using $50,000 as a deposit on an investment property. This graph does not show the finance for the investment property itself, only paying off the $50,000 deposit. What it does show, of course, is your red line is what this individual is doing, the way they're going, and then we throw on a 3% savings. It goes down to the blue line there, and then we throw in some goals or some expenses of property, a couple of holidays, and it comes in at the green line. As you will see, this on this graph, the individual is still way ahead of what they were doing. Pretty straightforward, really. This is a calculation to show what the cost, the out-of-pocket cost, the hip pocket cost will be to an individual. This is quite amazing stuff in this scenario. And it shows a cost the first year of $7, then $9, and then $10. And it's paying for itself in 10 years, this one. Savings and tax on this illustration, all this is illustration only, is over $6,000. And the property will be paying for itself in 9 years. The investor, the investor is paying or contributing 1%, 1% towards this particular property. And the property will be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, 1%. This whole thing is great. It's all very interesting, but it needs to be done. And a lot of people don't like to go from A to B to C to D to get it done. So we offer a pretty all-in-one place type service. So number one, sort out personal spending, pretty crucial. Needs to be done before, or certainly with purchasing an investment property. To assess the affordability of a property investment, just talk with our finance department, WhiteStar Finance, to look at the nuts and bolts of an investment property, the feasibility study, we call it, which I just showed you part of, is WhiteStar Money Management. Renting out, we've got property management to handle that. I got tax and other stuff. We've got WhiteStar Accounting, and then we've got properties themselves, which constantly change, of course. So if you think this is good or handy, please do refer your friends and family. They will be in good hands. Start your property investment journey with us. You know, many of us can achieve more. We simply need a vehicle and direction. Perhaps property investment can give you this. If you're not using us for your journey, your property investment journey, just see your relevant professional. There are plenty of good people out there. If we can be of help, that's great. This is Paul saying thank you. I appreciate your watching this little insight. I hope that in some way it has improved your road ahead. Thank you.